So what we want to talk to you about now is how to find an idea. And for some people, the idea is where you start and you just spark from there, and then you need to know what to do. But some people are like, well, how do I get an idea? So we would like to talk to you about that. One thing I have learned is that people try to find an idea that will please everybody, and it's not possible. You cannot ever please everybody, even the most popular stories. I mean, Harry Potter, Star Wars, there you can find somebody out there that does not like that particular genre, and that's fine because so many people do, and that's those stories appeal to that audience. So please keep that in mind when you're finding a story. And another tidbit is to think about a story you would want to read and have always in your mind that you're writing for yourself, because you will find an audience of people like you, and that's the idea that we're going for. So you can always find an idea if you stick to something that you want to hear, and then we have lots of ideas for where to get the actual what to write about stuff. So you can go from here.
Yes. Like she said, write for yourself. Whatever stories you want to read about, go ahead and write that. Real quick also, we're about to tell you all these different ways you can find inspiration and from all these other sources, but I think it's important to clarify that we're not promoting plagiarism at all. Don't steal anybody else's idea. Don't copy things that you see. That's not inspiration. That's being a criminal, actually. It can get you in actual legal trouble if you are plagiarizing other people's ideas. So we're not asking you to do that at all. In fact, if you do that, your story is not going to be very good because it's already been done.
Right.
It's somebody else's idea. You want to do something unique and on your own. While keeping that in mind, it's super important to look other places for inspiration, though. I think that reading your favorite book, watching movies and television, always have an idea, always have an open mind for an idea from there. That's where everything that I usually write comes from, is like, I really like that one little thing they said. I wonder if I can take that and just expand it into this whole new world. Find these little ideas that someone touched on and take that and see what you can do with it. Or you can combine two things that you've seen in these mediums, in any form of art, and put them together and see what you can do with that. Random mixing and matching.
Right, and any form of art. I mean, literally, like, look at art, look at photos, look at paintings, look at statues, anything that is art if you enjoy that kind of thing. But they're also just everywhere you look. I mean, there's a quote, there might even be a billboard. I mean, you could even watch an interaction between people at a restaurant and get the idea of something. It could be either the idea of a character, or you could watch an interchange between two people and you like the way that particular relationship looks. You can just find it anywhere. So just always be on the lookout for things. And one of the things that I specifically enjoy doing is the books that I like to read. I just really get into the authors, and I look at their process. And I've actually read quite a few books that authors have written about the writing process. So that's another good place to like see how they did it, how they started. Because it's if you just feel like you don't have a process, somebody does, and you can find it somewhere.
Another thing to keep in mind is that creativity breeds creativity. And will you explain what that means, Donna, please?
Definitely.
I can't quite put it into words, so.
Well, for me, just being around creativity makes you feel like you can also be creative. And this is, of course, one of the main things we want to do with our whole business and our podcast. I have just enjoyed so much talking to people about their creative process. But it also means that if you read some good books and you get an idea from it, and then you go from there and write your own book. If you hear a song you like and then you write a song that's similar to it because you're sparked by the love of the music you get from listening to other people's music. I see it in my classroom. People are creative in class, and it makes other people say, oh, well, if you did that, I bet I could do that too, or let me try. Or so creativity, art begets art, however you want to say it. It's if you are around art and if you're around creativity, it just makes you feel like you want to do that too.
I thought about this, but I wanted to cut. So
okay, that's fine.
I think the main point to take away from this video, or the main points, is to surround yourself with like-minded creative people and try to feed off of their creative energy and collaborate with them and get the ideas that are flowing through, and surround yourself with art and books, television, movies, all these things that you love. to consume it in a way that is not just getting entertainment, but is feeding your creative brain. And I think if you make these life changes where you have a more open mind and you walk a different path today, and maybe this path has like some art down it, or you stop to look at pictures, or you read a book every once in a while, a random one, something new. If you're around these different people who have these new and unique things to you that you can then get from them, then all of that can be used to spark a new inspiration and idea. Just look for the art around you for your own.
And look for the inspiration around you.
Yes.
Because you can really get inspiration. You can go outside and look at the clouds and just an idea. Well, that's another thing. For me, ideas do fall into my brain. So I think that I've heard so many stories, so many of the wonderful pieces of literature we have. If you really read about how the author got the idea, it just fell in. But I will also tell you that sometimes my ideas fall in when I am writing. Like, so if you want to be a writer, you actually write. So you can just sit in front of your computer or get a piece of paper and just start writing whatever comes out of your brain. And if you do that for 10 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day, eventually your muse will come to you and you will get inspiration that way. So many ways to get an inspiration, to get an idea for your story.
Right. And as you're getting those things, start writing them down randomly. And eventually you might look at your notes and you see this thing and this thing over here, and it all makes sense, and eventually you have this whole story, which we're going to get into a lot more specific tips on that sort of thing, of having this idea and putting them together and weaving it into this world, because that's what happens. That's what playwriting is. It's like a spider weaving a web all together, and it all starts.
Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man. We're going to talk about Spider-Man definitely. I'll find a way. And it all starts with the inspiration for these different things, and you start weaving them together, and you have to find that somewhere, which it's already there. I think that's what's important to remember is you don't always have to. You don't have to find an inspiration because it's already there. It's already in you, and if you unlock it and just start putting down everything you can, then eventually it will work out for you, and you'll have enough in front of you. You'll have enough pieces in front of you to create a puzzle.